Well, it's been almost now a week since the local election disaster, something which has become known as Black Friday in the Conservative Party. So bad have these local election results been for the Conservative Party. And we have seen numerous Conservatives throughout the week cry and moan and try and cope with the fact that they lost big. And of course, who's the man responsible for all their losses? Well, as we were told, the discipline in the Conservative Party is watertight. Meanwhile, in the background, there's all these Conservatives scrambling, running as fast as they possibly can to try and get to the closest journalist to express their discontent as who they think's to blame for all this. And the answer was crystal clear. It was Rishi Sunak. With one Conservative MP clearly saying it was Rishi Sunak's faction who got rid of Boris, it was his faction who got rid of Liz, it's his faction who are now in charge. He started all this chaos. He is the one who was sold as the one who could end this chaos. And maybe he's quietened the lake down of the very choppy waters for the time being. But at the moment, the idea that Rishi Sunak is this dynamic, fast-moving man who can make a choice and save the party from future electoral disaster doesn't really seem to be the case. So, before we go talking more about this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a notification link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And of course, as always, there is the YouTube thank you button. And of course, you can join the Pony Club down below as well. So, I just want to start before we get into this. You may remember a song by the Beatles called Nowhere Man. And the opening lyrics are, "He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody." And I have to say, that song right now sums up Rishi Sunak. Those opening lyrics. He's an absolute nowhere man. He's making nowhere plans, and he's making these plans for nobody. Because if you were for a second a prime minister or even a leader of a political party, a big political party, and you've lost over 1,000 seats, which does not bode well for you in an upcoming general election, you would at least, maybe this week made some attempt to appeal to calm. But no, Sunak didn't even do that. Instead, he decided that he was going to take a £6,000 chopper or helicopter ride to a pharmacy and back. Yeah, that's a man who's in touch with the common people. We'll see how well that goes down at the general election when he tries to, once again, pay for something by chip and pin and looks like some sort of alien as he tries to work the machine that everyone I would expect in this country would know how to work. We talk about how bad for Ed Miliband eating a bacon sandwich went. Imagine Rishi Sunak completely failing to use a self-service checkout because he can't understand how it works. No matter how much he waves his card around it, it just doesn't seem to work. And then there's been nothing else. Yes, he's come out and said this was bad, but bear in mind, worse than he thought. He'd only thought he'd lose 230 seats. No, he lost far, far more. Not only that, you have the siren clarion calls that are now coming from those hardcore Brexiteers, especially because of how Kimmy Badenoch has acted, that he's no longer a Brexiteer, that he's not a Brexiteer, that he's not being a hard enough Brexiteer. This was a man who was already a very, very weak prime minister. He has become even weaker. And the fact that he has done nothing speaks volumes. And there's an infamous Winston Churchill quote about decision making. And I think, or at least crisis decision making. He said, whenever you're in a crisis, the worst thing, or at least the least worst thing you could do, is make the wrong decision. The best thing you could do is obviously make the right decision, but the worst thing you should do is do nothing. And that is what Rishi Sunak has done this week. He has done nothing. He has gone nowhere. He has made nowhere plans for no one. And instead, he just seems to think he can bumble on. I'm highly expecting there to be some sort of cabinet reshuffle, potentially maybe in the next sort of weeks or so. But as he continues to do nothing, all those Tories on the backbenches will continue to panic. And when panic sets in the Conservative Party, bad things tend to happen. Why? Because Rishi Sunak is doing nothing. And it's how content are the Conservative Party willing to let Rishi Sunak get away with doing nothing? I don't think that will be allowed to go on. That is for sure. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.